Good morning, good morning. It looks like we are live. Welcome to an Ageless Energy show. I'm excited to dive in. Today we're talking about maybe the yeah, excuse me. Maybe we're talking about the closest thing to a magic pill when it comes to supplements. Don't worry, those of you that know me, no, we don't deal with all the fluff nonsense like take this gummy and drop 20 pounds. We're going to talk about the magic of chlorella. Probably, well, at least one of our least talked about supplements that is life changing. So I'm going to dive into that. Maybe I don't talk about this one enough because it has so much value, especially jam packed in a little tiny tab. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Drew Tadia, founder and CEO of True Form Life. For the past 20 years, we've been helping women 40 plus increase energy, burn body fat, and balance hormones. So if that's you, you've come to the right place. Now, we are going to dive into chlorella here. So I'm going to pull you guys up here briefly. Those of you listening on a different platform, I am streaming live right now. You may be catching the replay at another time. If you have questions live, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, if you want to ask questions during the replay, you can do that as well. So imagine a single food so jam-packed with nutrients, scientists have called it the perfect food for astronauts. NASA actually researched chlorella as a food to take into space. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if that's a giant selling point for the average person. Excuse me. I should have brought some warm tea. But for me, it is super interesting because there's only certain types of foods that you can take in different places, like space. Morning, Katie. So for example, so let me tell you real quick, when we were looking for different types of greens, we wanted a well-rounded, nutrient, jam-packed green. And we found that in spirulina and chlorella, which are both superfoods. I'm going to focus this conversation on chlorella in particular, but we take both. We take spirulina for different purposes and we take chlorella for different purposes. Now, when we were looking around, most greens have junk in them. And we kind of pride ourselves in the cleanest ingredients possible. So I actually tried a bunch of different greens. And I would read ingredients, I'd read labels, and a lot of them have junk that we shouldn't be putting in our body. So that's number one. The other side of that is often there's so many ingredients. You're trying to figure out what does what. And I also don't think that, at least for me, that's not the route I wanted to go. We try to simplify as much as possible. We try to simplify our life with our members and clients. We try to help them simplify. There's so much overthinking in this world and inaction. Like there's not a lack of information, there's lack of implementation. So we have this information overload, and then we run into analysis paralysis, and there's nothing seems to get us out of that because we're just stuck in that phase of overthinking. So when I look at ingredients, I want the ingredients to be as simple as possible. So when I came across spirulina and chlorella, I was blown away by all the data and all the facts and all the information there is about these two superfoods, which are actually a blue-green algae, that I was like, my gosh, like we have to take them. And before we get into supplements, we experiment with supplements. Sorry, before we sell any supplements, we experiment with them, we take them, and then we run through a checklist. Is this something that we would take personally? Is this something clean enough that we would recommend to friends and family? Can this improve our health, and will this make a difference in the health of our clients and customers? It's not trying to find a product that is going to give us the biggest margin or make us the most amount of money. That's why we waited so long. We had, for a few years, people were messaging regularly. What collagen should I take? What collagen should I take? And I didn't want to get into that just because it was trendy and a hot topic. I got into collagen because I finally found one that was absolutely incredibly more valuable than the next one. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but we have the only organic collagen in Canada. We are one of the very few companies that sell collagen in organic collagen in North America. And then our standards are head above shoulders with all the certifications that our product has. I don't know if anyone has, like even the processing stage to create what we have. But let me focus. So that's why we got into the greens in particular. And I also didn't want to go with a powder because I would have companies send me samples of their greens, and at the bottom of your glass was this like green sludge, which I wanted to stay away from. And then we know from being in years in business, some of our customers don't all take shakes or smoothies, which would be very easy to put a scoop of chlorella in there. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to make it as simple as possible for you to take. So what we have are tabs. So you take the tabs, you can take them traveling. You don't need a shaker cup. You don't need a blender. We tried to eliminate as many reasons as possible why people don't get enough greens into their body. It's been helpful for us as well. So that's how we got into it. But let me dive in here a little bit more. So what is chlorella? So chlorella is actually grown in fresh water. I think this is important because when you look at products that are more ocean-based, I don't know how else to say that, you have your seafood, for example. Those come with, you're getting more than what you bargained for. Those come with toxins and hard metals, which is why you want to take a chlorella to detox the hard metals, specifically with seafood. That's just one of the benefits. But chlorella in particular is grown in fresh water, not in seawater. So that's one thing that's worth mentioning. It's grown in clean conditions. Ours is organic. And again, you can buy it in powder if you like. We sell the tabs, and we prefer to take the tabs for a number of different reasons. Katie says, mine come with me everywhere. That's awesome. We do too. We have like 2 little tins. One is spirulina, one is chlorella. They sit in the car with us. They come everywhere. I call it my business bag. With my backpack, it has my laptop and my camera, which I take everywhere. It has tins of greens. It's just the simplest way to get a bunch of nutrients in your body. It's important to understand that not all chlorella is created equally. Ours is organic. That's number one. And then number two is ours is the cell wall is cracked, and they do that through sound, which is pretty cool, which makes that product absorbable to your body. The cheap, low quality ones, you think you're doing your body good, but it's not absorbing because it doesn't have the cracked cell wall. So that's super important to understand. So for the nutrient profile, I believe, you might not, don't quote me on this one, but I believe that chlorella has the most chlorophyll in it pound for pound. That's just like saying spirulina has the most protein in it pound. Like for example, spirulina has more protein than a cup of spirulina and a cup of steak. Spirulina has more protein. But of course, you're not going to take a cup of greens. It's going to be a bit much for you. But that's just as a comparison for chlorophyll. It's just, like, think about this little tiny tab that you're popping. It's just jam-packed with so many nutrients, which is why we like to consider it more of our multivitamin. Not a multivitamin fan, don't really believe in them. That's why we take our greens as a replacement for a multivitamin, because these have 40 vitamins and minerals each tab, both spirulina and chlorella. So it's a complete protein, which means it has all the amino acids. It's very rare in plants. Like for example, you can do combining, like you can combine celery and cucumber to get a complete protein, but you need to have all the essential amino acids to create that complete protein, which again is quite rare with plants, which is why this is a superfood. So the vitamins B, C, E, and K are more prominent in chlorella, and then minerals, iron, magnesium, and zinc. And I'll tell you the story that before our little monster, we have a 3-year-old now, but Dorothy went to get her levels tested pre-pregnancy, as a plan, like we were planning to have him. And her iron levels were super low. So this is one of the reasons we got into these greens. So we spent an entire summer experimenting with these tabs in particular. And we went back, we were actually in Los Angeles. We had a little apartment there. And we spent 4 months there. So tested before we left, 4 months there. The only thing that we can figure that we changed was the greens. We came back and her iron levels were through the roof. And I know that's a big issue for women in particular. I'm not a big fan of synthetic iron or supplementing with iron, which will certainly go against your doctor recommendations. But if you look at a clean product like this, we've seen incredible results with an increase in iron levels, especially when we were going through that phase of making sure all of her vitamin levels were where they should be, or recommended, I guess. Okay, let's keep pushing on. If you guys have any questions or comments, just drop them below. So detoxing, I talked about this briefly, detoxing and heavy metal removal. This is kind of where chlorella stands out. It binds to mercury and lead in particular, and other toxins, like you put the aluminum, a lot of people put that aluminum under their arms. That's a hard metal toxin that's causing health issues. Chlorella is great for that. Some people that are exposed to processed food, you could look at the metals that they used to, hopefully not anymore, used to put in your teeth, for example. Those are hard metals. Those need to be detoxed out. So I'm super interested in oral health. That's becoming more prominent in our overall health. That, like, if you have swollen gums, for example, that is directly linked to heart issues. There's a lot of things that are happening orally that can be connected to our body, which I'm not really going to get into. But I think it's important to understand that there's a lot of things going on in and around our body that need to be detoxed out. Another reason why chlorella daily is a great idea. So boosts immune function. This is fantastic for your immune system because of so when our body becomes filled with toxins, it becomes weaker and it becomes run down. So for you to remove those toxins, your body becomes put in a stronger state of being, which means it can more easily fight off these little bugs or viruses that are floating around. And unfortunately, we tend to see over these last few years a weaker and weaker immune systems, and people not feeling well for not just short amount of times or not more often, but long stretches. So you used to not be feeling well for a few days or a weekend. Now it's a few weeks, which is a little bit concerning. I'd be concerned about it. Let's see. I think that's probably enough. About the immune system. Maybe the last thing is if you're traveling, you're more susceptible to other things. And I think summer's coming to an end now, regardless of when you're watching this. When you're traveling, taking these tabs are super easy, and that will help boost your immune system, especially during travel, when you could be drinking different water, you could be around different types of people that might be native to their land and their, there's all kinds of different things happening from water to air pollution to someone else sneezing or coughing on you. Okay, number 3, digestive health and gut balance. This is super important. This is kind of something that we specialize in. People have been coming to us for digestive issues for years, and then through working with women 40 plus around that menopausal state, we realized that menobelly is a real thing. Gas, bloating, indigestion. What happens there is we need to work on your gut microbiome. So chlorella is something that can help balance that out, which will help balance your hormones, which will help reduce that menobelly. So this chlorella in particular, it's considered a gentle source of fiber. It's not so prominent like a flaxseed, for example, but it feeds your good bacteria, so that's important. I already talked about reducing bloating, and then some of our members that are customers that use chlorella, they feel lighter. They don't feel so heavy or bogged down. These are the words that they're using when they are using chlorella on a regular basis. Had a few people jump in here. Morning, Sandy. Morning, Keisha. We have a good number joining live. If you guys have questions, drop them below, or if you lost my train of thought. I put energy down here in recovery. This is great. I really like this one for post-workout. Now, supplements can get murky because of how in-depth you could get. I'm suggesting to take, I'm skipping my notes here. I'm suggesting to take chlorella in the evening with supper, because if you're having a fish, it's a great time to have it. It's a good way to boost your nutrients. A lot of people don't get the vegetables, the antioxidant, the fiber they need. So having that with supper time and just remembering to take it is an easy way to be like, okay, it's supper time. My chlorella goes with supper, because most people, even those people that seem to starve themselves most of the day, most people have a supper in the evening. So if you add chlorella, that's just an easy way to remember, and some of the other benefits that I mentioned earlier. Oh, I was talking about, but you can also take your chlorella after a workout, because you have, so as you work out, you build up lactic acid in your muscles, which is that burning sensation and ultimately causes failure. It's actually a good thing, but the lactic acid is what stays in your muscles and causes you to be sore after. So as a recovery, you can consider chlorella as a post-workout supplement to help reduce soreness and flush out lactic acid. So that's something you could consider. Now, don't overcomplicate it. If you're not taking it at all, or you're just starting, just take it once a day. If you want to level up and you want to see more benefit, then maybe you take your chlorella after a workout and in the evening with supper as well. Or if you don't want to take it with supper, just take it after workout. There's a lot of different variations. You have to do what's best for you. To be consistent, so you're remembering to take it. That's number one. And then you can look at leveling up for your dosage and time, like times of day, etc. But okay, moving on to skin and anti-aging. I've seen some companies advertise chlorella as a beauty product or a beauty tab, and there's nothing wrong with that, because there are benefits that can help, like a vitamin K, for example. But what it really does is it's the chlorophyll in the chlorella that protects the skin from the oxidating damage. So you could look at sun damage. You could look at a diet, which causes skin damage. There's a lot of different things that we can look at, like the free radicals in our life from pollution. You could look at the lotion you're putting on your face, the soap that you think you're cleaning it that has toxins in it. So unfortunately, there's a lot of damage that we do to our skin, like lathering up. I'm not a fan of, we don't use not suntan lotion. We don't use, what is it? Sunblock. Gosh, why can't I think of it? We don't use, you know what I'm talking about? But we also use, we also wear sleeves, we wear hats. We don't go out at 2:00 when the sun's at its highest. Like, we use our brains around sunshine. But you have people, like, in most cases, too much of anything isn't a great idea. But we have people that are suntanning, and then they take pictures of how burnt they are, like it's a celebration, when you're really damaging yourself. Sunscreen. Thank you, Katie. We don't use sunscreen. But I would consider that damaging. And then you have the opposite of, what's the other one, Katie? Where you put the lotion, or you put the lotion on it, and it like helps you tan or something. I feel like that's such a like an odd concept to me. like suntan lotion. Anyways. I'm going to wrap things up here. If you guys want a 20% discount code for our chlorella, just comment below and we'll send it over. Let's see. So it's just collagen self-tanner. Is that what it's called? A self-tan. You put that lotion on and then you're like all greased up. Do people still do that? You're all greased up and then it brings the sun to you more? Like, Okay, I'm not laughing at anyone. I'm just, some of these things that are normal in our world are crazy to me. Okay, I already talked about taking it in the evening. Katie says, yes, please. You bet we'll send that code over to you. So we suggest 3 to 5 tabs a day. So I'll tell you guys, not that this matters, but we used to have the tiny tabs, and we would suggest taking up to 10 of those a day, 10, even 20. And it seemed like an odd concept because the tabs are so tiny, you needed more to get more benefit. And then we doubled the size of our tab. So we moved to a size that's twice that size. So you don't need to pop 10 pills, 10 little tabs anymore. Now we have this bigger size tab. And so I would suggest 3 to 5 tabs. I don't know if this serves anyone well when I say I take 10 tabs a day, because people are like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But I take 10 tabs earlier in the day, usually around 11 in the morning, and then I take it around supper time. I would suggest this is a food product, right? It's a food in the supplement world. Like, it's a food grade product. It reacts very differently in your body. You can more easily absorb it, utilize it, and gain benefits from it. If you have a conventional supplement, often, especially with the junk in supplements like additives, fillers, flavorings, colorings, your body's like, what is this? It's a foreign substance. Your body has trouble recognizing it, and sometimes that's stored as a toxin, and your body puts fat cells around it, which is why it's so important to stay away from cheap, low-quality supplements from the dollar store, from Costco, etc. It's a mini rant for you there. So, what was I saying? What was I saying now? I would suggest taking 3 to 5 tabs a day as a dose. Some people are like, oh, is 5 too many? Like, you're not going to overdose on chlorella. Okay, that'd be like saying you're going to overdose on broccoli. It's not really going to happen. So don't worry about that. Start with 3 tabs if you feel like it, and you can increase. Sometimes when people are like, I've been taking 5 tabs for a while now, I feel like I could use more energy. I could feel like I could use an immune boost. Then that's a good time to level up. Or when now September, October is coming, there's back to school, FLU season, you can double your chlorella intake to increase your immune system. That's pretty much all I have. My notes have ended. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Does it taste bad? That question comes up a bit. Don't chew them. I've had the odd person that was like, oh, they tried to chew them. Don't chew them. Like our toddler, our 3-year-old chews them, but he doesn't know refined sugar or processed food. We don't feed that to him. So he doesn't know the difference. But you will, and so will I. So you swallow the tabs, you don't chew them. You can throw them in a smoothie if you like and blend them up. Sherry says, yes, please. Powerhouse chlorella for me. You got it. Is it the same as spirulina? It's not the same as spirulina. They're 2 different products that offer 2 different benefits. And I can talk about spirulina another time. I just wrote down some commonly asked questions. How fast will I notice results? Look, some people are supplement resistant, and they'll take anything and find a reason for it not to work. If you are looking for something to not work, you'll find it. If you're open-minded and you're willing to give it a try, natural supplements work much different than a pharmaceutical. Like a pharmaceutical, take an antibiotic, easy example, for 10 days. You take it, it works, it's done, and you don't take it again, right? With natural supplements, they compound. The longer you take it, the more consistent you take it, the more benefit that you're going to find. Everyone sees a little bit different value. Sometimes people see results right away. Sometimes people see results in a longer amount of time. But that'd be like saying, like, we like food. Food cures, heals, prevents. We believe in food, right? Most people just aren't getting enough nutrients in their food to not supplement. I see that with veggies across the board. Most people have like steak and potatoes, right? You have your carbs. Sometimes people have, like veggies in particular, we call it the forgotten about macro. When like most experts talk about macronutrients, they don't even talk about vegetables because there's not a whole lot. They're not calorie dense. Some people don't think they're nutrient dense. They don't realize the antioxidant benefits. They don't understand the fiber and the digestion that it has to offer. So it's just a lack of knowledge. But when it comes to your chlorella or your tabs, there's so much value in adding that, because you're not getting what you need from vegetables. Like, for example, most people don't have vegetables at breakfast, right? You may have one serving in the evening with supper, and that could be carrots, right? Not the most nutrient dense vegetable that you could consume. And then I hear from people all the time that are like, I don't eat salad, I'm not a rabbit. And I'm like, okay, stay with that. Stick with that mindset. How far has that gotten you, right? So, anyways, I'm going to wrap things up. And thank you so much for joining live. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you want the discount code, comment below. We'll send it over. And that's all I have. Tracy says I take 10 tabs of chlorella as well. Tracy's actually a distributor and brand partner for us in the Red Deer Sylvan area. And she's also a MAP member who has seen amazing results. So proud of you, Tracy. If you're in the Red Deer area or Sylvan, you can reach out to her and she will hook you up with some of our True Form products, like chlorella in particular. I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day. Catch you guys soon. And goodbye.